I would like to divide my comments into three parts. Firstly, I would like to tell you about the initiatives taken by government in procurement reforms. Secondly, in the innovative ecosystem reforms. Thirdly, quality reforms. Lastly, I will conclude by expressing what Government of India expects from the innovative ecosystem. Firstly, coming to the procurement reforms. So far, procurement has been looked at bringing some very costly high technology equipment from abroad for the forces. There was a common misunderstanding that defense forces only want foreign equipment, which is very, very costly, and generally they don't like whatever is produced in India. To allay the fears of the local manufacturers, in 2021 December, our Prime Minister declared that the defense procurement will be primarily from local industry. Imports will be an exception. So it has been written down on stone. It cannot be violated just like that. Any exception has to be approved by the defense minister himself, and if it required, it goes to the cabinet. So, if you think that defense forces require a particular type of equipment now or in future, you should start immediately, because it would stand a very, very good chance to become a part of their supply chain. The second important thing which is done is that we have ensured that the procurement process itself is speeded up. It's delegated to various levels. Now, you have seen the emergency procurement recently. More than 100 contracts have been signed in a period of 6 months to 8 months, and many supplies also are taking place. Several of these are purely Indian designed, developed, and manufactured. Similarly, we have the Make 1 and Make 2 programs also, where last year, 2022-23, we have concluded more than 80 contracts with the local manufacturers. These can be very top-order equipment like the tanks and infantry combat vehicles, and it can also be smaller equipment like spare parts, components of the various platforms we are using. Thirdly, in Make programs, that is Indian designed and developed manufacturing in India equipment, we are ensuring that orders are placed soon after the development is completed. In fact, Make 1 and Make 2 programs are tied with the secure orders. Make 3, which also looks at technology transfer and manufacturing in India, is also tied to the guaranteed orders. So in terms of ensuring that whoever designs and develops in the country is rewarded adequately, reforms are already in place to ensure that they get the returns. The next most important reform is that we are requiring each and every critical technology required for these platforms which our forces are procuring are designed and developed in India. Normally, what used to happen previously is that there will be several Indian companies manufacturing parts, components, but the company which gets the order for entire platform used to import several of these components from abroad, despite having the local alternative. So we ensure that now, as per the new rules, The critical technologies have to be sourced from India. If they are already available, if they are not available, they have to be developed and manufactured in India. This is a major change. Why? Because so far, indigenous technology means it used to be labor component, it used to be the maintenance component, it used to be the documentation, it used to be the training. It never used to be the critical technology. It can be the metal bending, riveting, and those kind of low technology equipment, but it never was high-end avionics or electronic systems, IT systems, etc., which used to be very critical. What happens is that if you buy the IT systems, the software of these platforms from abroad, we are constantly dependent upon the foreign suppliers. Indian supplier never gets a chance to supply. Those things are a thing of the past now. Now we have mandated that the IDDM means it shall be designed and developed in India, has to be manufactured in India. Next I will come to the innovative system reforms. We had IDEX program in 2018-19 that itself was a very great revolution. In fact, for the first time established a very simple process to ensure that the innovators are given some support, some mentorship, some handholding, and also a small amount of grant. It used to be 1.5 crores. Later it was increased to 10 crores. Now, recently we have ensured that these innovators, these young people who have started companies, are also assured of the orders. They progress to the orders in a seamless fashion. It is not a very cumbersome process of going through several rounds of quality checks, etc. Because we are asking you to develop a particular technology, we agree with you what it will perform, and you have developed according to that. The procurement from these companies has been simplified a lot. In fact, one of the officers from the services, Navy, Air Force or Army, will handhold you and ensure that the procurement process is also complete. One more important, very important change has been brought about. That is the spiral development. So far, we prescribe SQR, service quality requirements, at a particular level. It has to fly, it's a drone, it has to fly up to 10,000 feet. If it flies up to 9,500 feet, we used to say, no, you have not met the SQR, so we cannot procure. Similar restrictions were there in many other requirements. So what we now say is that if you meet say 70% of the requirement, okay, you will place order for so many units. You still have a chance to increase it to the 10,000 feet and come back to us so that we can procure from you the remaining quantity. So the spiral development is going to be of great help to the innovators as they are assured of orders even if they meet not 100% but 70 to 80% of the requirement also. This will ensure that you will not suffer in future. We are also thinking of doing one more thing. Just now, some of the people I interacted with told me that the initial seed capital is okay. You may give 1.5 crore, 10 crore or 25 crores. But the matching grant is causing a serious problem. We want to solve that. We are thinking of tying you with the platform manufacturer. Suppose you manufacture a component, a sub-assembly for a larger platform. We would like you to get in touch with the larger company which manufactures the platform and get the necessary funding from them. Apart from that, recently, Finance Minister had a very detailed discussion with the Managing Director of CP. She had instructed him to ensure that all the defense startups get the necessary funding at the lowest possible cost. The cost of capital has to be reduced for the startups in the country. So all necessary arrangements will be done for them. And from my side, from the defense ministry side, we will ensure that our companies, I have 16 of them, will ensure that they will come to your support. They will not ask for your equity, please don't worry. They will extend you in terms of a interest-free loan if you are developing a part, a subsystem, a component which will go into the platform they are manufacturing. I request other industry representatives here. I have representatives of Tata, Mahindra, Boeing, Safran, very large companies are present here. I would also request them to handhold the startups, and they have been doing it. In fact, when Honorable Prime Minister went to US last June, he took along with him a large number of the startup innovators. There, he personally ensured that they get necessary support from the American industry ecosystem. Just before he reached there, he had asked me to organize an event where Indian startups get an exposure to the American defense industry. So we had organized the Intersex symposium there, where many top US companies had interacted with Indian startups and have given several orders to these companies. So in terms of connect between industry, the established industry, which get most of the large orders, and startups, which provide the critical technologies needed, has been already started. And I hope it will, in times to come, will become very, very strong and be mutually beneficial to the large corporates as well as the startups. The important thing is the remote and virtual quality control. Now we have huge developments in IT and instrumentation. Many of you are fully aware of it, which will enable us to do the quality control, quality assurance work sitting in a remote area. There is no need to be physically be present. Right now, I have deployed several hundreds of officers in these companies, manufacturing companies. I would like to get out of these offices. Maybe in a central office, they can sit and watch what is being done in these offices through remotely operated cameras, etc. A part of this is also the automated quality control processes. Many of the machines these days come with the recording of the parameters of the goods being manufactured. They can be read and understood clearly whether the processes are proper or not from a remote location. That also has been enabled now, and many companies are already utilizing this. And lastly, in the series of reforms is the uh, self-certification. If you have reached a certain stage in the manufacturing process, you can certify yourself that this is according to so and so standard, so and so standard, we confirm, so we can supply to you. Or third-party certification. If there is an ABL certified laboratory, they can come and check and give a certificate to you, which will be acceptable in the ministry. Like this, we want to declutter the quality control and quality assurance processes so that your procurement, the manufactured goods, the goods you have manufactured can be procured without any problem. So these are the three types of reforms which government has undertaken. I have listed only important ones. There are several of these things because our procurement process, quality assurance process is very complicated. We had to change, we have to modify, we have to delete many of these processes. It is much simpler now, it can be much more simpler. I need your advice on that. But I have stated some of the important things. Now, what do I expect from defense ministry side to the startups? We have issued a lot of challenges to IDEX recently and to Aditi only last month. I would request all of you to work on it because there are uh, guaranteed orders in there. If I ask for a small component of a battle tank or one of my aircraft fighter jets, I actually need it in large quantity. Please look into these positive indigenization risks which are there in our website. Similarly, the challenges are needed for actual live users. We need to deploy these equipment as soon as you make them ready. That's why
I was asked to speak about opportunities for startups in defense innovations. Let me start by giving you one example that although I was part of a large corporate, I started as a startup. I joined that company in 2010. I was the first person to join in the defense booth. Today, this year, we should, along with my subsidiaries, do around 1700 crores of business, and 1300 crores out of that is exports outside India. And Defense Secretary did mention about the quality of products. I can assure you, sir, the guns which we are exported are better looking than any other gun in the world, and we believe we have a world beater. So we can assure you on the quality. But my talk today is more towards the people who are sitting in this hall. Their recent geostrategic happenings have brought out two lessons. First and the foremost is that in times of war, you cannot depend somebody else to take care of your backside. Which means if you want to be a nation which can hold its own, you need to have a defense ecosystem or industrial base which is not reliant on foreign technology or foreign products. The second thing was that India wants to grow its economy. We are talking already about touching 4 trillion this year. We have a target of touching 5 trillion in next 2 years' time. And we are also wanting that 25% of that growth should be coming from manufacturing. If you take a look at it, today our manufacturing is approximately 16%. If we have to go to 25%, the manufacturing has to double in 2 to 3 years' time from where we are. And the white spaces available in the manufacturing sector were in the area which was defense and aerospace. So if you are looking at these white spaces to be covered to take care of the manufacturing of the country, defense and aerospace needs a help. It's no rocket science that we need to grow our manufacturing in defense and aerospace. Now let me come back to you. How do you grow manufacturing in defense and aerospace? We need to have an ecosystem which is based on a vibrant defense industrial base. And two constituents of that ecosystem or the so-called industrial base are technology and the manufacturing competence. In terms of manufacturing competence, this country has already shown that we are capable of doing high technology manufacturing. So what we need to take a look is at the technology ecosystem. Now, technology ecosystem consists of 3 segments. First is research and development, which generally will remain a state function. We will be carrying out research in certain fundamental categories, and this would generally be going from tier 1 to tier 3, 4, nothing beyond. The second part of the development is called innovation. Innovation is a step-by-step improvement in research and development. It is improving upon something which is happening. But the most important is what we call the breakthrough technologies. Now, breakthrough technologies cause disruption. And where do they happen? 95% of the breakthrough technologies have come out of garages, which is what it means that they come out of startups. I was reading a very interesting book called The Conflict. It's a wonderful book written which sums up all the conflicts which had taken place from First World War till Ukraine War, which is as recent as last year. And the 3 lessons which come out of that book is that you cannot predict with confidence where the defense technologies are headed. After the First World War, there was a mention that with the Air Force being available, you will never need army and navy. But you all know where we stand. So the book says that there are three things which are going to happen into the future. The first is that technology is going to change at a pace faster than you anticipate. Secondly, the warfare will start engulfing the domains where they haven't gone before. And the third and the most important part was that the technology development will now happen in civilian domain rather than in the military domain. Till 2000 or till 1950s or 90s, most of the leading technologies were developed in the military domain. Not so. Today the technologies are going to be developed in civilian domain, which will find themselves getting into the military domain. This is exactly what startups do. They can bring those technologies, they can bring those real breakthrough technologies will change the face of the warfare, which are going to happen and which are going to be done by the startups. Let me also link this with what happened in the warfare. We are at the cusp of what we call RMA 3.0. There was first came Revolution in Military Affairs 1.0. India was nowhere on the scene. We were not even ready. 2.0 was all about command and control, communication, software-defined stuff, and we kept playing catch-up. We did have the inherent capability in the country, but we were never being able to catch up. Till today, major weapon platforms which came into the country, which were imported, had generally the fire control systems and software written outside the country. Of course, things have changed drastically in the last 10 years, but this was the situation. Now we are at the cusp of what we call RMA 3.0. And this is the place where we need to be the lead player in the world. And that leadership can only come about when you have something what the startups bring to the